Obesity is a growing global concern. While most of us fret about a few extra kilos, for some, the battle with weight exists on an entirely different level. Sometimes it's nearly impossible to control their addiction to food. Obesity puts people at a much higher risk for many life-threatening diseases. In this video, we'll uncover some of the most shocking and haunting cases. Here is the list of the most overweight people in the world. Stories so unbelievable, they will leave you stunned and deeply reflective. These individuals aren't just fighting fat, they're fighting for their lives every single day. Juan Pedro Franco, in a short film made by Natasha Peasy-Slurg for the BBC, explains that following a car accident at the age of 17, half of his body was broken and he never fully recovered. However, doctors remain baffled as to why he gained so much weight since then. Franco has developed diabetes, high blood pressure, and hypothyroidism. The 33-year-old insists that he has tried everything to shift the pounds, but after years with no success, he is finally getting surgical help. 1 year ago, Franco moved several hours from his home to be closer to doctors and managed to lose a third of his body weight under their guidance. Having been rejected by a number of doctors, he now has a team of 30 professionals helping him for free. Franco has since undergone a 2-part gastric bypass, which involves dividing the intestine into 2 parts. One which will be able to absorb nutrients and another that can't. The operation should mean Franco only absorbs about 40 to 50% of the calories he eats. Recovering well, doctors hope that he will get down to around 120 kilograms in the coming months. Ashley Dunn Bratcher turned to food as a coping mechanism and a source of happiness when she was very young. Her unstable home life caused her to gain a lot of weight. She was already 250 pounds by 6th grade and weighed 400 pounds when she graduated high school. She continued gaining weight while happily married to her husband Jacob, and despite losing 95 pounds after the birth of their son Patrick, she fell back into old habits and kept gaining weight. Fortunately, she proved herself to Dr. Yuan Nandan and received gastric bypass surgery to help her new weight loss journey. But she knows how important it is to put in the hard work necessary. Whoever says weight loss surgery is the easy way out is crazy, because this has been one of the hardest things I've ever done, she explained. The surgery is just a tool. It doesn't change your mindset. Ashley lost 350 pounds, over 48% of her body weight, during the 2 years of filming the show Her Starcasm. She's happy that she no longer has to burden her son for help. Don't forget to tap the bell icon after subscribing to get notified every time we post. Octavia Gahagans is one of the fattest people in the world. By the time she was 20 years old, Octavia weighed over 500 pounds. Sadly, just 3 years later, her mother passed away, leaving her to take care of her sister Desiree. However, Desiree eventually got married and left home. At that point, Octavia tipped the scales at around 700 pounds. Luckily, things began to turn around for Octavia when she visited renowned weight loss doctor Yunan Nozaradan at his clinic in Houston, Texas. With Dr. Now's help, along with her own motivation and dedication, Octavia lost a remarkable 236 pounds, bringing her weight down to 456 pounds. For fans wondering what Octavia is up to now, her Facebook is public. Not only that, but she regularly posts updates for her followers. It seems that after appearing on TLC's My 600-Pound Life, Octavia took her public image to heart. She even refers to herself as a public figure in her Facebook bio. Her timeline is filled with before and after photos, motivational posts, weight loss tips, and promotions for her personal business. Arya Permana, the youngest from a small village in West Java, Indonesia, first went viral years ago when he weighed more than 280 pounds as a child. This fattest kid in the world was so large that he could not wash normally and had to bathe in an outdoor pool. His massive frame also meant he couldn't go to school, and he would get out of breath just walking a few steps. No clothes fit him, so he wrapped himself in a sarong and spent his days constantly munching on junk food, especially his favorite instant noodles. With a closely monitored diet, regular exercise, and a gastric band operation, Arya shed a remarkable 231 pounds in just 3 years. He now walks 3 kilometers a day, plays basketball, climbs trees, and can ride a motorcycle for the first time. He follows a keto diet with suitable recipes and was able to return to school before it closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Previously, Arya could devour rice, fish curry, beef, vegetable soup, and tempeh, a traditional soy patty, in portions enough to feed 2 adults for a whole day. Although he lost 20 pounds in 4 months after being placed on a fat loss diet plan of fruits, vegetables, walking and swimming, Arya was still far from reaching his ideal weight. Drew Stewart hasn't weighed himself in 10 years, but he wears a size 18X t-shirt. Although he hopes to be a candidate for weight loss surgery, he's worried about what the scale will say during his upcoming doctor's visit. His morbid obesity is a serious health issue that puts him at risk of becoming bedridden, like his 49-year-old cousin Chitoka Light, who weighs 680 pounds and hasn't left her home in 3 years. Even though walking causes him pain, Drew still has to do it. Staying mobile isn't optional because people depend on him, he explained. Looking back on his childhood, this overweight man was once a normal kid who rode bikes, swam, and played basketball. Drew believes the weight really started piling on when he moved to Atlanta to care for his mother after she became ill. Now, he truly wants to be a candidate for weight loss surgery and is excited to have an appointment with Dr. Proctor to begin his transformation journey. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. Chitoka Light, a dangerously obese woman whose nearly 680-pound frame had left her bedbound, managed to drop almost 100 pounds after undergoing weight loss surgery. Chitoka had been petrified to go through with the operation after learning about the physical and emotional risks involved in going under the knife. It was only after she began working with a trainer and was able to get out of bed and walk that surgeons approved her as a candidate for the procedure. Previously, Chitoka had described herself as being encased in a flesh prison, but the surgery gave her the freedom to be at home alone without needing someone constantly by her side, the first time in years. During the episode, Chitoka emphasized that she was ready to be self-reliant and independent, but acknowledged that thanks to her support system at home, she didn't have to face the surgery alone. Her family's joy was clear as they greeted her outside the hospital with cheers and congratulatory signs. Chitoka had been bedbound for 3 years and didn't leave her house until she began working with a personal trainer. Diana Bunch was also one of the cast members of My 600-Pound Life, and she was the oldest featured patient on the show. At 55 years old, Diana weighed 601 pounds. While the show had featured even heavier patients, her case was particularly critical due to her age. Obesity becomes much more dangerous as one gets older. Diana suffered from constant pain and was unable to lead a normal day-to-day life. Her main issue was in her legs, as she had lymphedema, making movement difficult and even personal hygiene a challenge. That was when Diana realized it was better to rush to the doctor than to die. Despite loving peanut butter cups, which Dr. Now strictly forbade, she had to choose between her favorite food and her life. In the end, She succeeded in reaching the benchmark for surgery. Charity Pierce began her weight loss journey through reality television as one of the heaviest women in the world, weighing nearly 800 pounds. She was extremely depressed about her size and once said she'd rather die than live that way. Charity suffered from flesh-eating bacteria on her back and couldn't perform daily tasks without her family's help. While struggling with her weight, she also grieved the death of her mother from brain cancer and faced betrayal when her fiancé cheated on her with her own sister. Despite everything, Charity's journey was one of the most challenging. With the help of Dr. Now and gastric bypass surgery, she lost over 400 pounds and later filmed a documentary about her transformation. Inspired by her late mother, Charity lost an additional 95 pounds with a keto-based meal plan, going from one of the world's fattest individuals to a healthy, determined woman. Her journey became a true inspiration for everyone, proving that she is strong enough to overcome life's toughest challenges. Leave a comment, hit like, and subscribe so you won't miss our next amazing stories. Keith Martin, who once weighed 70 stone, approximately 980 pounds, died from pneumonia after being bedbound and unable to walk, not having left his North London home for an entire decade. Tragically, his death came just 8 months after he underwent a successful gastric sleeve surgery that removed 3/4 of his stomach. Mr. Martin admitted he was knowingly killing himself by consuming 20,000 calories a day, almost 10 times the recommended daily intake for an adult. Morbidly obese, he would have 6 fried eggs for breakfast, followed by pizzas, kebabs, Chinese takeaways, and Big Macs for lunch and dinner, all washed down with 6 pints of coffee and 2 liters of fizzy drinks. Had he survived, he was expected to lose hundreds of pounds and regain his ability to walk and lead a normal life, according to Mr. Manor, a supporter of new NHS guidelines encouraging doctors to suggest weight loss surgery for anyone with a BMI over 30 and type 2 diabetes. Unemployed, Keith admitted much of his weight came from eating massive quantities of ultra-cheap fast food. Sean Milliken, who weighed more than 1,000 pounds at his heaviest, died from complications caused by an infection that led to a heart attack. He had been having serious breathing issues, and although doctors were able to resuscitate him, his heart stopped shortly afterward. Sean's life was honored in a special episode of My 600-Pound Life. He passed away during the filming of the second episode of the follow-up series. Sean first appeared on the show in 2016, weighing over 900 pounds. His starting weight of 919 pounds was the highest the show had ever featured, though his weight fluctuated significantly throughout his time on the show, peaking at 1,003 pounds. He attributed his early weight struggles to a strained relationship with his father and his parents' divorce when he was just 10 years old. By the time the separation was finalized, Sean already weighed 150 pounds. Initially, he managed to lose more than 400 pounds during the show, but his progress was hindered by his mother, who continued to feed him unhealthy food and even encouraged him to ignore his doctor's advice. His weight loss journey was further impacted by the death of his mother, Renee, from kidney failure in 2017. Rosalie Bradford, who held records for being the world's heaviest woman and for losing the most weight, is no longer with us. She weighed 1,050 pounds in January 1987. According to the 1994 Guinness Book of World Records, she lost 736 pounds, reaching 314 pounds by September 1992. The book also states that Bradford weighed about 400 pounds shortly before her death. She spent her final year bedridden due to complications from having her lymph nodes severed years earlier. Richard Simmons sent her a diet plan that began with controlling her breakfast intake and encouraged her to exercise. It was a slow process, but by 1992 she was just over 300 pounds. She returned to school and earned a degree in psychology from Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and toured the country giving motivational speeches at weight loss seminars. She is survived by her husband and son. Patrick Duell, a Nebraska man, is known around the world as the half-ton man. Patrick brought his battle with weight to the small screen as the subject of TLC's documentary. At that time, he was literally eating himself to death, weighing in at 1,072 pounds. He hadn't left his bedroom in Valentine, Nebraska in 7 months. Medical crews had to knock down a wall and bring in a special ambulance from Denver to transport him to a South Dakota hospital for gastric bypass surgery. A year later, Patrick weighed 570 pounds and went on to lose another 200 at home. When the documentary aired, nearly 5 million people tuned in. Patrick doesn't regret doing the show and hopes it helped others who are overweight get medical attention. According to him, many don't receive help because people mock them and tear them down. He says the first step for anyone wanting to lose weight is to sit down with their doctor and contact a dietitian to understand how their body reacts to certain foods. Walter Hudson, once listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the heaviest man alive, drew nearly 1,000 people to a Long Island church near his Hempstead home after his passing. Most had learned of Hudson only after he became stuck in his bedroom doorway in 1987 and required rescue workers to get him out. Standing 5 feet 10 inches, Hudson once weighed 1,400 pounds before he changed his diet and began exercising. He was fortunate to have a fiancée who stood by his side, and she once said his love made her feel blessed. Before the service, hundreds lined up to view the open casket, where Hudson lay in a purple robe surrounded by white satin. Dozens of people took photos. After the service, the closed coffin was placed on a metal dolly carried by 8 pallbearers. The dolly was attached to the back of a hearse and pulled for an hour through the streets of Hempstead, passing City Hall and the house from which he had stepped outside in 1988 for the first time in 18 years, never venturing beyond his yard before that. Eman Ahmed Abdelati was an Egyptian woman considered to be the heaviest living woman in the world and the second heaviest woman in history. Her family stated that she weighed 5 kilograms at birth and suffered from a thyroid disorder, which forced her to drop out of school early. She lived in Alexandria. In February 2017, she traveled to Saifi Hospital in India, where a team of doctors led by Dr. Mufazzal Lakdawala successfully treated her with bariatric surgery. The team included an endocrinologist, a chest physician, a cardiologist, a cardiac surgeon, 2 bariatric surgeons, 2 intensivists, and 3 anesthetists. She remained in Mumbai for several months after the operation, with the goal of performing 2 surgeries and reducing her weight to below 100 kilograms over the next 3.5 years. She lost about 325 kilograms during her weight loss treatment in India. On May 4, 2017, she left for the United Arab Emirates for long-term treatment. Eman was also suffering from a heart condition and infected bed sores. She was being treated by a team of 20 doctors at Burjeel Hospital in Abu Dhabi. Later that year, in 2017, she passed away. Carol Yeager was an American woman recognized as the heaviest woman ever recorded and one of the most severely obese individuals in history. She lost 521 pounds in just 3 months without surgery, a record-setting weight loss over a short period. Yeager suffered from numerous obesity-related health issues, including breathing difficulties, dangerously high blood sugar, and pressure on her heart and organs. She was unable to stand or walk due to muscle weakness, partly caused by atrophy from immobility. Over 2 years, she was hospitalized 13 times. According to Beecher Fire Chief Benny Zappa, each transport required 15 to 20 firefighters from 2 stations relaying her through the house and into the ambulance. Each trip cost the township up to $450 per station. Carol Yeager died in 1994 and was buried privately with about 90 family members and friends in attendance. Want more bizarre and emotional stories like this? Hit that subscribe button now. Manuel Uribe was a Mexican man who suffered from a morbid obesity to one of the greatest extents known in recorded history. After reaching a peak weight of around 600 kilograms and having been unable to leave his bed since 2002, he lost approximately 230 kilograms, over 1/3 of his body weight, with the help of doctors and nutritionists by February 2008. However, he died in his hometown, weighing 394 kilograms. Uribe drew worldwide attention in January 2006 when he made an emotional plea on a Mexican television network that prompted both private and public assistance. He was also featured on The World's Heaviest Man, a 2007 television documentary about his bedridden life and attempts to overcome his obesity, and in The World's Heaviest Man Gets Married, a similar documentary broadcast in 2009 by the Discovery Channel. Uribe was hospitalized after suffering severe cardiac arrhythmias and liver failure. He died in 2014 at the age of 48 from liver failure. Donna Simpson was once known as one of the most overweight women in the world, gaining fame through an unusual lifestyle and becoming a star in a fantasy fetish community that idolized extreme obesity. Wearing extra large dresses, she would eat entire cakes and bags of donuts, making an effort to move as little as possible. Fans even delivered pizzas to her door, encouraging her to gain weight. One man from Germany sent her a credit card with instructions to buy pizzas, Chinese food, and other takeout meals, wanting her to grow larger with his money. Donna had a website where men paid $19 a month to watch her eat, and she traveled around the world to attend events. But life is changing for Donna Simpson. The 600-pound mother of 2 moved from New Jersey to Akron, Ohio, after ending a 5-year relationship with her fiancé, Felipe Goa. Turning away from the fantasy world, she stopped making eating videos and began blogging about her health journey. She has already lost 85 pounds and hopes to join a gym soon to begin walking in a pool. Donna has also modified her eating habits. She weighed about 200 pounds during her school years in Summit County, Ohio, and after years of struggling with weight loss, she is finally taking steps toward a healthier future. Paul Jonathan Mason is the world's former heaviest man, once weighing in at 70 stone, approximately 444 kilograms. He began overeating in his 20s as a form of emotional detachment from childhood trauma, including abuse. Despite numerous efforts to get his weight under control, Mason revealed that he gained another 20 pounds during the coronavirus lockdown. He now lives alone in sheltered housing in Plymouth, where he has access to round-the-clock care. His lowest moment during the pandemic was being hoisted out of his flat in a sling by paramedics. In 2014, Mason weighed 140 kilograms, or 22 stone, reflecting a total weight loss of 304 kilograms, almost 48 stone. While he admitted that he hates living the way he currently does, he hopes things will improve in the new year when he can access more treatment. Paul also hopes that his documentary, The World's Fattest Man, 10 Years On, will help others on the same journey before it's too late. Katrina Rayford once held the unfortunate title of being the world's fattest woman, but after transforming her diet and exercise habits, the 40-year-old from Florida has lost an incredible 570 pounds. Now, a regular at her local gym, Katrina has even joined Tinder to try her luck at love. She admits that in the past, she used to catfish men online by sending photos of slimmer women to trick them into conversations. Her new life is a far cry from 2002, when headlines reported part of her house had to be bulldozed to get her out due to her 1,000-pound frame that left her bedbound. After shedding 576 pounds, she is now a shadow of her former self. Entering the dating scene, Katrina is often asked by suitors how she lost the weight. Some even want tips for their mothers, aunts, or sisters. She laughs, knowing that just a few years ago she couldn't move, and now she's dating. She now plans to lose even more weight and hopes to have 140 pounds of sagging skin removed. Kenneth Brumley is one of the heaviest people ever recorded, with a confirmed weight of 1,033 pounds, approximately 469 kilograms. He was featured in the Channel 4 documentary Half-Ton Dad, which told the story of a father of 4 who was bedridden. As a child, Brumley played basketball, baseball, and American football, which helped him maintain a normal weight. However, after moving to California at age 19, he stopped playing sports, and his weight began to rapidly increase. At his heaviest, Brumley reportedly consumed around 30,000 calories per day. According to his statements in the documentary, he had been bedridden for 15 years before being accepted for gastric bypass surgery at Renaissance Hospital in Houston. A fire crew had to break down a wall in his home to extract him. At the hospital, Brumley was treated by the same medical team that had cared for Renee Williams, believed to be the world's heaviest woman at the time. The first step in his treatment involved reducing his diet to just 1,200 calories a day, which helped him lose 167 pounds in just 40 days. If this story shocked you, make sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss more inspiring and unbelievable stories.